Hello everyone, I'm Jack Fisher and welcome to my world. And I've got another one of my Jack Quick Reacts videos, so again, this isn't scripted, there's no larger video essay, this is just me giving a quick reaction to something big I've seen recently, and this might be my trickiest reaction yet because I'm going to react to the finale for The Last of Us Season 1. Now, if you've been following this series like I have, and even if you haven't played the game, you've been following this amazing journey with Joel and Ellie from the beginning. I mean, this show has definitely taken TV by storm. I mean, every episode it seems tends to start trending, and it always generates so much discussion. And with this finale, I have a feeling those discussions are going to intensify, and mostly for the right reasons, but for some not so right reasons. And if you've seen the episode, you kind of know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I have been following this show since the first episode. And as someone who's played the game, man, I kind of know what's new. I know what was coming. I know the larger themes of the story. I know the aesthetics, and yet at the same time, I still felt the impact of every major moment, from the moment Joel and Ellie first meet to the moment where Ellie has to escape the crazy cannibal cult leader David, to the moment when Joel gets seriously injured. I mean, and I knew this was coming, and yet it still hit so hard. That is truly a testament to the show and the quality of both the actors and just the story and everything involved. And with this finale, it kind of all culminated. It all really came together in, I think, the best way it could have. I mean, this is a show and a story that is not meant to be black and white. It's not meant to be totally linear. There's a lot of shades of gray. I mean, from the first episode to the last episode. And the same thing happened in the game. And I think if this show was going to succeed, it had to capture that. And after seeing the finale, I think it definitely did. But as for the structure of the finale, it was kind of built around. By the way, spoiler warning. If you haven't seen the finale yet, I would recommend clicking away, because I am going to have to touch on some details that are very, very heavy in terms of spoilers. So here's your chance. But again, if you haven't seen this finale yet, definitely check it out. And if you haven't even binged the show yet, this is the best possible time to do it, because the discussions about how this finale played out are going to get people talking. And same thing happened with the game. This finale was kind of structured like the last level of the game, where Joel and Ellie finally make it all the way to Salt Lake City to meet up with the Fireflies and hopefully meet up with the doctors who are going to try to help extract a cure from whatever is keeping Ellie safe from infection. So that has been their goal the entire time. I mean, since the first episode, even since the early parts of the game, that has been the goal. Ellie is immune. They have to figure out why, so they can stop this infection, stop this horrible plague that has just destroyed everything and costs people so much. I mean, in both the game and the show, you see what the toll this apocalypse has taken on people. I mean, even for those who aren't fighting these fungus zombies, it has destroyed them. It has wrecked them. Their livelihoods, their families, their communities. It's just, we've seen what it does to people. And Joel in particular, I mean, he's the best example. He pretty much lost everything he thought was worth living for a while. And one of the best things that this finale did was it expanded on that feeling in ways that the game never did. Like, there was this really, really sad moment where Joel admits flat out that after he lost his daughter, he thought, he had nothing else to live for. He tried to take his own life, but thankfully for Ellie, he failed. And that shows just, how deeply devastating this whole world has become. I mean, we saw earlier, with Sam and Henry, when Henry lost his brother, I mean, he didn't flinch, he didn't hesitate. I mean, he had nothing after that, and I think that left a huge impression on Ellie, and also with Joel. And we see throughout the course of the show that this is a world that is so broken, and you know, now they have a chance to save it. Ellie could be the key to that, but but this finale, and along with the game, it puts Joel, and it puts even the players and the audience in a really difficult position, because in this final act, in what should have been sort of the triumph for surviving for this long, we find out that the Fireflies pretty much lied to them. They lied to Ellie. They lied to Joel. They did tell the truth that they did want to make a cure, but what they didn't tell either of them was that extracting that cure would require that they'd have to kill Ellie. And moreover, they didn't even tell her that. They never gave her a chance to choose, and they lied to Joel about it too. So that means all these conversations they had throughout multiple episodes where they talked about, what are you going to do if this works? Joel, he wants to, have a sheep farm. Ellie, she decides, what? I want to go with him. They all talk about, the lives that they want to build once this horrible plague is over. And now suddenly they find out that, oh, by the way, you're going to lose someone's going to have to die for this. And from the Fireflies' perspective, and this is kind of where the debates are starting among fans, is the Fireflies. You can't call them evil. They want to end this plague too. They want to help the world heal from this horrible apocalypse. And to do so, they are willing to sacrifice. If it's one life versus all the lives they could save, that's a tough calculus to make. But but that's a choice they're willing to do, even if it means lying to Joel and Ellie. But on the other hand, when Joel wakes up and he finds this out, there's no real inner conflict. There's no debate. He says, find someone else. He's not willing to accept that. He's grown so close to this girl. He's basically become his surrogate daughter. She's helped fill this empty, broken void that he's had since he lost Sarah. And now they're telling him, they're just going to kill her. And not only that, they aren't even going to give her a choice. And it kind of, it makes for an intense moment where, when Joel eventually just kind of goes all John Wick on the Fireflies, a part of you wants to cheer him on, but another part of you also knows on some level you're kind of sacrificing what could be one of the only hopes to ending this. But at the same time, it's extra tragic when early in the episode, we actually got some insights into the past, where something that actually wasn't even in the game, where we find out what happened to Ellie's mother, who was coincidentally played by Ashley Johnson, who played Ellie who voiced Ellie in the game. So that was a nice little crossover there. But what's really makes that extra tragic is that shortly after Ellie's mother gave birth to her, she found out she was infected, and she told Marlene, the leader of the Fireflies, hey, please protect Ellie. But in the end, she's in a position where she has to sacrifice Ellie, and she's willing to do that. She's essentially breaking her promise to Ellie's mother, and all while also lying to Joel. And it's hard to get around that. Yeah, you could say that what she's doing is for the greater good, but again, you're still sacrificing a life. You're not giving them a choice. And even earlier in the episode, Ellie seems to be willing to see this through, whatever it might be. And we don't know for sure if maybe if she had been told, she would have chosen it freely. And if she had made that choice, then it would have been much, much harder for Joel to do what he did. It would have been, it's impossible, but it's impossible to know, because Marlene and the Fireflies, they never gave her that choice. So, and when it comes to the whole discussion over did Joel do the right thing, that this is a discussion that has been happening ever since this game came out. I tend to lean on the side that, well, they lied to Joel. They lied to Ellie. And the thing is, the Fireflies, they never gave Ellie a choice. They never told her the full truth. They essentially said, oh, this isn't going to hurt. We're just going to run some tests. but they didn't tell her they were going to kill her, and that's I can't get around that, and don't blame Joel for not being able to get around that. He tells her, find someone else, or maybe find another way. The idea that they just got to kill her and not try anything else, like literally anything else, I mean, that kind of makes me more inclined to think that what Joel did was, overall it was right. I won't say it was completely right. I mean, at the same time, he did kind of, he went all John Wick on the Fireflies, and what he ended up doing to save Ellie. If you've played the second game, you know what that leads to. And I'm not going to try to get too much into that, but that again, this is a debate I'm sure is going to affect fans of this show and fans of this game for many years to come. There's never going to be a full resolution. There are going to be fans who will defend Joel to the bitter end, but there are going to be other fans who keep pointing out, he didn't honor Ellie's wishes, or he just doomed the rest of the world. And both sides have merit, but again, this is a show and a story that has always, existed in shades of gray. I mean, there's never a full, there's never it's never so black and white over what was the right thing versus what was the wrong thing. And that's part of what makes the game, the show, and the story just so powerful. Because, we're going to just keep, I doubt I'm the last one who's going to try to argue who was right or who was wrong. And once season 2 comes out, whenever that might be, I imagine those discussions are going to intensify. Now, we already do know that that Last of Us season 2 is going to happen. So, and the fact that they have followed the first game so closely leads me to believe they're going to follow the second game just as closely, which, again, if you've played the second game, you know where this is leading. And it's going to be a lot more tense, because the first game has always kind of been sort of about finding love and finding a meaning to move on, even when things are at their worst. But the second game has a very different tone and very different themes. I mean, the second game is just so driven by things like hate and vengeance, and just taking accountability for lies, deception, and so many other things that, again, it's something that people are going to be debating. But I remember when the second game came out, the debates among fans were way more toxic and way more intense. And I don't know if that was intentional by the creators, but I suspect if the show even follows the second game marginally closely, it's going to cause a hell of a lot of debate, especially if they don't change certain key details or certain key choices for certain characters. Again, I won't spoil. If you've played the game, you know exactly who I'm talking about, and you know exactly what scenes I'm talking about. I won't spoil that, but I personally am not looking forward to the kind of debates that's going to garner. But for this particular episode, I feel like it captured the most important elements of the game, and it captured the most important elements of the story. It essentially said, hey, this is kind of what happens when you take two characters who are so different and so broken in so many ways, send them on a journey, have them forcibly kind of get them to grow closer together, and then in the end you find out, if they have the chance to lose everything again, even if it means the world is going to stay as broken as it is, you're kind of left with a choice. What do you choose? Joel, I don't think it was much of a debate for him. He wasn't going to lose. He lost one daughter. He wasn't going to lose another, and you can't blame him for what. It's hard, even if you don't agree with his choice. You can understand why he made it. And for Ellie, it's hard to feel. I mean, she's a tough character, but in this episode, in this finale, you really saw more of her vulnerabilities. You really saw, how much she really wanted to see this through. Even though she was lied to, she didn't know, what the Fireflies were ultimately going to do to her. It's understandable why she wanted to fix this world, because she grew up in it. And we saw in the episode 8, how how difficult it was, and how much she just presented how broken everything was. And she saw someone she cared about die because of this world, and the idea that she had a chance to make it so that didn't happen to anyone anymore. I mean, she was in a that not many other people could have been in that position. And now as we move in, now as with the story ending for season 1, and again setting the stage for what's to come, it's hard to imagine how it's going to be for her, knowing that everyone's kind of lied to her, and now eventually the truth is going to come out. I mean, even if you haven't played, even if you don't know anything about the second game, you can you can already sense that a lie like this you just can't keep it in forever, no matter how good your intentions are. And I feel like it's gonna fill a lot of fans with a certain amount of dread for the second season, even those who've played the second game. So, but overall, if I were to take a step back and just try to assess this series as in its entirety, I mean, it has definitely been one of the best shows HBO has put out in quite some time, and it's probably one of the best video game adaptations ever. I know that's kind of a low bar because video game adaptations until very recently had a reputation for being awful, but this one really showed just how great it could be, and I'm really happy with how it ultimately turned out. And I'm certainly going to be keeping an eye on the second season, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of other discussions and controversies, to put it mildly, once certain details emerge about the second season and where the story goes. But for the most part, this was as good a finale as we could have hoped for. This has been a great show, great casting, great acting all around. It's a hell of a ride, and I'm so glad that we got to be along for it. So that's all I'm going to say for now. So thanks everyone for joining me in my world again. This has been another edition of Jack Quick Reacts. So until next time, take care and stay safe, everyone.